Yeah, this is my Elektra Beckum HC 260M. It's already disassembled since I want to replace the main bearings, and yeah, they actually make quite a noise, and today we want to see how to replace them. The Elektra Beckum HC 260M machine, as we see it here, was built in Germany by the company Elektra Beckum. This concrete machine is from 1987, so quite old, 32 years now, and it's pretty good shape. All the things I could check are really well and good. There is also a version of this machine called HC260C. This C machine, they were built in China and they are still available in the market today. Don't know about exact differences, and well, but I expect them to be also okay and not a big deal in differences. So the machine itself is quite famous in Germany, known for its stiffness, rigidity, and for the very strong engine. So it's very strong, never has any problems with really planing 4 millimeters, which is made for, so quite reliable and good machine. Yeah, and today we have a look how to assemble everything together with the new bearings. The disassembly process I don't have a documentation of, but everything is quite straightforward once you see how to assemble it. And yeah, I will cover this only in some pictures. So, if you're interested in this, have fun! So here I want to show you the main steps, or the complicated steps actually, which are involved in unmounting the bearings. So what you find is actually that the cutter block has here its bearing and this housing which gets screwed into the planer actually, and that you have this pulley belt which is now already loose, but of course this is very much connected to the shaft. And to remove this, I simply took some hardwood, some scrap wood of maple here, put it onto the pulley, and took a big helping tool to convince it to get off. So by using the hardwood, actually the pulley belt does not, so the pulley here does not get any problems, and quite easy to remove. So then you can unscrew actually the belt pulley without further problems. And the next thing you have to remove is actually the housing here with which it's mounted. And first of all, well, you believe it's very complicated, but in fact it isn't. You simply remove it, and then you see there is some rubber here inside, an O-ring, and with this it's very easy to remove. That is quite nice, so not a headache at all. So in the last step you have to do is actually remove the bearing itself from the shaft. This you do with such a universal, don't know the English word, in Germany we call it Abzieher. So with this you can grab actually the bearing and pull it off the shaft. That is quite easy. So get it under tension here. And then you can simply unmount it. you're done with the main parts of disassembly. The other side is nearly the same, except that there is no pulley drive. So, next step is actually to get new bearings. So, reading the bearing actually comes out that this is an NSK 6203 type of bearing. There are different versions of this. The original one is a V type, and I could get a V type. The difference is that the cover here is improved compared to the old one from 1987. Okay, so next step is actually to press this onto the shaft. So this has an inner ring of 17 millimeters, and when you want to press this in, you're supposed to only put pressure on the inner ring of the new bearing, never on the outer one, because that would damage the bearing directly during mounting. To do this, I build up a second small tool here, which is actually a piece of aluminum. It's drilled, so quite deep, to accommodate for the length of the shaft, especially on the other side it's longer. And this will actually press with this ring onto the inner ring here. And on the other side I can simply put pressure. Pressure in this case means you could really use from a hardware dealer some tool which can really press fit it, or we make use of the weight of the cutter head itself to press it in, and we see how that works. So, and now it's on. That's all. Then, let's do the other side. Still coming some wood chips. And that's it. Now the new bearings are pressed on. So now that the bearings are pressed on, next thing is to assemble the rest of the pieces. So that is the drive side of the cutter block. So here we have this mounting, and we can simply use it and press it on to the bearing. That's all. Oh, and that runs really smooth compared to the old bearing. And the last thing is to screw on the pulley drive. And put it under some tension, but the rest will be done by the belt itself. don't think that it is necessary to put it any stronger. So, and the other side. Is very similar. We have another housing, press it on, and then we have a drive here for another small belt. And that's it. With this, the cutter head is already assembled again. Okay, next step is now at the machine, which is cleaned up, and the desk here is moved far to the side here, so that the area is really free. So now we put in the cutter block into the machine. That works very simple and it's turning freely now. Very nice. So now we put in the 4 screws here and into the original position, and don't forget to use some Loctite at the nuts to secure actually the screws. Now the 8 screws are back in position, tightened, and the pulley is already mounted, and now we see how that works and how loud the machine is after the exchange of the bearings. That is great. Not half of the noise it made before. We can see that in the start actually the pulley is slipping a very little bit. That makes this strong noise when the start comes, but that does not come from anything except really a slip in the pulley. But that is okay and good. So now we have to put the drive back into the machine. Finally putting the pulley back on. And that's it. So in the meantime I mounted now the covers here again. Nothing special to this, and the important thing to notice is that here there is a gap and it's open, which actually leads also to the point that really some wood chips come into it, which makes it essential to take care of your drive here. So now next step is to put in this cover again, which protects actually here at the main drive. And the interesting thing to note was that actually there is one washer between this cover and the sides here, on one side only, on the other side there wasn't a washer, so seems to be not that exact. But also here don't forget to use some Loctite to be safe. So the next step is now the next step after putting in this cover again with some Loctite is now to get the desks on both sides into a parallel position again, so that this is all really good. And so first thing is to screw up this desk to its normal position again. So back into zero position. Okay. And this looks unbelievable good. Okay, and on this side it has to be moved up here, I guess some 0.2 of a millimeter. So now on the assembly process, I now unmounted also the other desk, and you see here there is quite a little bit of old grease, but also wood chips here especially, which lead to some inexactness in the setting, and this I will remove now so that we get a real good setting of the two desks. So after cleaning up and remounting the desk, the result, so lamp here is now quite good. On this side of the desk I do not see any light coming through between the straight edge and the desk. If I go on to the other side of the desk, however, so here it's also quite okay. Hope it's not too shaky, but on this side at least you can see a little bit of light, but I guess that's all what you can expect from a machine of this type and size. It's simply, there are limitations in the end to the exactness compared to such a machine, modern one. So then let's assemble the rest of the machine. That means bring in the cutters into the cutter head. Now assembled the blades and adjusted them to be around 0.35 millimeters about the uppermost point of the two desks on all 4 places of the blades, so 1, 2, and turn it around the other 2. So by this now the assembly should be complete. 2 desks are now coplanar, adjusted if this is set to 0, and the cutter blades are also adjusted. So now it's time to do a test cut. So that looks like expected, except for this part where it seems that currently the adjustment of the blade should be a little bit less, so not 0.3, but maybe a 0.2 would be better to accommodate for exactly this. See the same here, so both sides, and together this sums up. All the rest is okay. Okay, time for a test cut with a readjusted blade to 0.1 millimeter above the desks. So, the result in hardwood is convincing. It's parallel, gaps are closed, that would be ready for glue up. Okay, and one more test now for the thickness planer, whether the result is of the same height on the right and the left side, because that might also have been affected by unmounting and remounting the cutter head. So we see. So, and for this I can't feel a difference in the height of the 2 pieces of wood. So we see 47.7, 47.8. I would say that is pretty okay. You get more differences by not cleaning up the planer correctly. So also that setting is okay. I guess now it's finally really everything okay and tested. Bye.